Barefoot, bleeding, and holding her son, Lena thought she'd escaped her abuser, until he kicked down the church door, drunk and furious. But from the shadows, a man stepped forward, Bible in one hand, gun in the other. What happened next will shock even those who thought they'd seen everything. But first, let's go back to the beginning. The man didn't slow. Not at first. The engine of the Harley rumbled like distant thunder, kicking up a storm of dust as he crested the ridge, black silhouette against a sun that had no mercy. Lena flinched, shielding Tommy with her body, too weak to run, too tired to scream. Just the growl of the motor, her shallow breath, and the blood pounding in her ears. Then he stopped. The bike sputtered down to a hum. The man dismounted without a word. He was tall, lean, his face shadowed beneath a sun-bleached bandana and a pair of scratched aviators. His arms were inked from shoulder to wrist, tribal lines and crosses and something like flames. A pistol hung at his hip, not hidden, not threatened, just there, like it belonged to him as much as his heartbeat. Lena tightened her grip on Tommy, whose face was sun-red and slick with fevered sweat. The man looked at them, long and slow, like he was trying to decide if they were real or ghosts. Then he reached into his saddlebag and pulled out a canteen. He held it toward her, silent. Lena hesitated. Her pride flared, then died under the weight of her son's rasping breath. She took the canteen with shaking hands, poured it into Tommy's mouth first. The boy coughed, then swallowed. Her own lips cracked as she drank. Only then did the man speak. "You got a death wish, lady?" His voice was coarse, not cruel, like gravel smoothed by years of wind. She tried to answer, but her throat burned. Instead, she looked him in the eye, hers hollow, his unreadable, and mouthed, "Help us." He looked down the empty road, then back at her. "I don't take strays," he said. Lena's shoulders dropped. It was over. She had nothing left to beg with, nothing to trade. But then the man knelt beside Tommy, pulled a knife, fast, sudden, but only to cut the laces off his boots. He slipped one off and handed it to Lena. "Put him in my seat. You ride behind. If you fall, I leave you." She didn't ask his name. She didn't care. All she knew was that the sun would kill them, and he hadn't. That was enough, for now. The desert kept roaring, but the Harley roared louder. Jesse's words hung in the air like the desert heat, dry, unyielding, but not without weight. Lena studied him with the suspicion of someone who'd seen charm turn cruel too many times. His eyes didn't dance like Greg's when a lie was coming. They stayed still, steady, tired, like he'd already fought the battles she was only beginning to crawl out of. He didn't press her, didn't sell her hope like a traveling preacher or flash salvation like a badge. He just stayed, crouched in the dust beside that rattling old Harley, his shadow stretched long behind him like a man who carried more ghosts than tools. Tommy sipped the water, curled beside her, and for the first time since they ran, his small body stopped trembling. Lena didn't know if it was the hydration or the silence, the kind that didn't threaten or punish, just existed. Jessie didn't speak unless she asked, and when she did, his answers came like stones, plain, unpolished, and impossible to move once said. "Why the Bible?" she asked, finally. Her voice was hoarse, but steady now. Jessie looked down at it like it was both a curse and a cure. "Because if I carry it, maybe I remember not to draw the gun first. Maybe I remember her." Lena didn't ask who her was. She didn't need to. The way his jaw clenched around the memory was answer enough. Still, that tattoo, it gnawed at her. "Mercy kills," inked in block letters across his forearm like a warning or a confession, He caught her glance. "You think that's a threat," he said. "It ain't. It's a reminder." "Of what?" "That mercy without justice is just cowardice dressed up to feel holy." A pause, heavy. "I used to give mercy to the wrong people. My brothers, my crew, men who'd set fire to the world if you didn't hand them the match. I let 'em go too many times. Then one day, I looked around, and the only good people left were the ones lying in the dirt." Lena looked away, shielding Tommy from the words. But Jesse wasn't talking to him. He was talking to the part of her that still thought running made her weak, that feared being soft meant getting crushed. "You got hate in you," Jesse said gently. "I can see it. Don't be scared of it. Just don't let it rot." Lena said nothing, but she didn't flinch when he offered her another bottle of water, and Jesse didn't smile when she took it, just nodded, like they'd both made a quiet pact in the middle of the wasteland. Not for trust, not yet, but for survival. The church still smelled like ashes and old wood, a place too forgotten to be holy, too hollow to echo prayers. But in that moment, it was the only thing standing between Lena and the end of her rope. She pressed her back to the pulpit as Tommy buried his face in her side, shaking, whispering, "Is he going to take us back?" She didn't answer. She couldn't. Her mouth was too dry, her hands too slick with fear to hold on to even a lie. Greg stood in the doorway like a bad dream come to life. The morning light framed him, but it didn't make him human. It made him look mythic, monstrous. His boots tracked filth across the warped church floor. His eyes were wild with a hunger Lena knew too well, the kind that fed on control, on screams, on the silence that came after. "You think this little hideout's gonna save you?" he spat, pacing toward her with his fists clenched like verdicts. "You're mine, Lena. You and that bastard kid." Lena wanted to run, but Tommy clung too tight, and there was nowhere left to go. So she did what she hadn't done before, what Greg never expected. She stepped forward, stood tall, didn't blink. Her voice, when it came, was soft but solid. "You're not touching him." Greg laughed, that horrible boiling sound. "You forget who I am?" "No," she said. "I remember exactly." That's when Jesse came back. He didn't speak at first. He didn't need to. The church stilled. His boots were quiet, but his presence rang louder than a sermon. In one hand, the old leather Bible. In the other, a worn Colt .45, dull in the dusty light but deadly as a rattlesnake. Greg turned, sneering. "You think that book makes you holy?" Jesse's reply was low, deliberate. "No, it reminds me not to shoot first." Greg's fist came fast, years of bar fights behind it. But Jesse had danced with devils worse than Greg. He sidestepped, let the punch slide past, then swung the Bible like a hammer. It cracked across Greg's cheek with a sick thud, dropping him to one knee. But Greg wasn't done. He lunged. Jesse's gun fired once. The church doors blew open with the echo. Outside, Greg's truck hissed and buckled, two flat tires bleeding air like a dying beast. Jesse's aim never wavered. "You want to keep breathing, you leave. Now." Greg looked up, hate smeared across his face like war paint. But even monsters know when they're outmatched. He didn't speak. He didn't beg. He just backed away, limping, broken, smaller. And then he was gone. Not defeated, not yet, but running. For now it was enough. The dusk wrapped the chapel in soft gold, the broken steeple casting a long shadow like a wound the sky had learned to live with. Lena sat on the worn stone steps, the heat of the day retreating from her skin, replaced by something quieter, something that almost felt like peace. Tommy darted barefoot through the dry grass, his laughter floating on the wind like a sound borrowed from a life they didn't think they'd ever know. Beside her, Jesse sat with his elbows on his knees, hat pulled low, a cigarette burning down between his fingers but never reaching his lips. He didn't smoke it, just held it, like a habit he hadn't let go of yet. "I've never seen someone like you," Lena said. Her voice was low, but there was no fear left in it. Just wonder. Jesse didn't look at her, just gave a half smile, the kind that hurt a little to wear. "Good," he muttered. "I'm trying not to be the man I was." Lena looked at the gun at his hip, then the Bible strapped beside it like an echo of the same violence, tamed. "Why do you carry that?" she asked, nodding toward the leather-bound book. He tapped the cover with one calloused finger. "Because every time I open it, I see the names of the people I can't apologize to, and the ones I still might be able to help. It's not about faith anymore. It's about debt." She reached out and placed her hand over his. His skin was rough and sun-creased, but he didn't pull away. "You already did," she said. "For me. For Tommy." He looked at her then, really looked. The kind of look that didn't ask for anything, just gave. In the weeks that followed, Lena took Tommy and left the desert behind. Oregon welcomed them like a place that had been waiting. A used bookstore hired her. Tommy started school. And every week, a letter came, folded with care. Bible verses scribbled in the margins, not as sermons, but as memories. Reminders of the road Jesse still walked. The last one came without warning. Just a single sheet. "You saved me too, Lena. The kind of man I was died the moment I chose to protect, not destroy. Tell Tommy to keep running toward the light. Jesse Kane." She cried when she read it, not from sadness, but because for the first time in a long time the tears were clean.